Have you ever noticed how the fear of losing something beautiful can sometimes stop you from enjoying it while it is right in front of you? What if the walls you have built to protect your heart from breaking are the very things keeping you from fully living? If you have ever pulled away when someone started to get too close, if you have ever felt a sudden wave of anxiety right in the middle of a perfect moment because you knew it could not last, this is for you. We live in a world where everything changes. People leave, feelings fade, seasons turn. And because we know this, we often do something quietly heartbreaking. We hold back. We give only a fraction of our hearts, hoping that if we do not love too deeply, it will not hurt as much when it is gone. We create distance. We prepare for the end before the beginning has even truly taken shape. But here is the truth few people want to face. Trying to protect yourself from grief by refusing to love does not keep the pain away. It only brings the pain into the present moment. You do not avoid suffering by building a wall around your heart. You simply suffer in advance, mourning a loss that has not even happened yet. Buddhist wisdom teaches us one of the most profound truths of existence. Everything is impermanent. The nature of life is constant change. But the suffering we feel is not actually caused by the changing nature of life. It is caused by our resistance to it. We suffer because we want the beautiful things to last forever, and we are terrified of the moment they will inevitably shift, transform, or disappear. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean, watching the most breathtaking sunrise. The colors stretch across the sky in vibrant shades of gold, pink, and violet. Now imagine squeezing your eyes tightly shut and refusing to look at it, simply because you know the colors will eventually fade into ordinary daylight. It sounds foolish, does it not? Yet, this is exactly what we do with our hearts. We close our eyes to love. We look away from deep connection. We build a fortress around our vulnerability because we are afraid the sun will set on our joy. Think about your own life. How many times have you stopped yourself from expressing how much you truly care? How many times have you kept one foot out the door in a relationship just to make sure you would not be left completely empty-handed? How often have you let the fear of a lonely tomorrow steal the warmth of today? Ask yourself, is this armor really keeping you safe, or is it just keeping you numb? There is a strange kind of freedom in acknowledging that you cannot control the outcome of anything. You cannot guarantee that a relationship will last forever. You cannot force time to stand still, nor can you freeze someone's feelings in amber. But you can choose how fully you show up right now. Pause. Breathe. The next time you feel the urge to pull away from someone you care about, because you are afraid of losing them, simply observe the thought. Let the feeling of fear rise up without making it your identity. You do not have to obey your fear, because true safety is not found in avoiding love. It is found in trusting yourself to survive the inevitable changes of life. But understanding that everything changes is only the first step. And this is where the next truth begins. Because we must first look at why our minds are so desperately obsessed with making things last forever. 2. The illusion of permanence. Here is a truth that is deeply uncomfortable to accept. The harder you try to make something last forever, the more likely you are to crush it. We have been conditioned to believe that love is only real and only valuable if it never ends. We are taught that a successful relationship is one that stretches unbroken until the end of time, and that anything less is a failure. Because of this, we place an impossible burden on the people we care about and on ourselves. We want a guarantee. We want to know that if we open our hearts today, our hearts will still be safe 10 years from now. So we try to control the narrative. We look for signs of reassurance. We overanalyze conversations. We demand promises about a future that has not even been written yet. We try to freeze the people we love in place, terrified that if they grow or shift or change, they might grow away from us. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that this desire for permanence is a powerful illusion. It is the root of our deepest suffering. In Buddhism, the reality of impermanence is not a tragedy. It is simply the nature of all things. The sun rises and sets. The seasons turn. People enter our lives, and sometimes they leave. Suffering arises not because things end, but because we blindly cling to the belief that they should not change. Imagine trying to hold a handful of fresh, cool water from a flowing river. If you gently cup your hands, the water rests perfectly in your palms. You can feel its temperature. You can quench your thirst. But the moment you become afraid of losing it, the moment you squeeze your fists tightly together to trap the water and keep it forever, it instantly slips through your fingers. In your desperate attempt to possess it, you lose it entirely, and you are left with nothing but wet, empty hands. Think about your own life. How much energy do you spend trying to squeeze the water? How often do you exhaust yourself trying to control someone else's feelings? You read into every word of a text message, looking for proof that nothing has changed. You seek constant reassurance, not because you are truly connecting with them in that moment, but because your fear is begging for a guarantee. We wrap our anxieties around the people we love, suffocating the very connection we are so terrified of losing. We demand that they prove they will never leave before we allow ourselves to fully arrive. Ask yourself, what are you actually holding on to? Are you holding on to love, or are you holding on to control? Pause, unclench your hands. The next time you catch yourself worrying about where a relationship will be a year from now, gently pull your focus back. You do not need to know the ending to appreciate the chapter you are in right now. Do not let the heavy weight of forever crush the delicate beauty of today. Letting go of permanence is not about expecting things to fail. It is about realizing that the value of a connection is not measured by its length, but by its depth. And this is where we must face a difficult distinction, because there is a profound difference between holding someone in your heart and wrapping chains around them. 3. The difference between loving and clinging. What if the way we have been taught to love is actually a disguise for our deepest fears? Here is the truth. We often confuse love with possession. We believe that to truly care for someone means we must bind them to us, holding them so tightly that they cannot ever slip away. When we feel insecure, we tighten our grip. We demand all of their time. We feel hurt when they seek space. We try to control the relationship, constantly scanning for any sign that they might be pulling away. We call this deep love. But this is not love. This is clinging. And clinging is born entirely of fear. In Buddhist thought, there is a sharp and vital distinction between love and attachment. True love simply wishes for the happiness of the other person. Attachment, however, demands that the other person make us happy. Love is light, expansive, and free. Attachment is heavy, restrictive, and deeply rooted in the anxiety of loss. Buddhism reminds us that this desperate attachment is the engine of our suffering. When we attach, we stop seeing the person in front of us, and we start seeing only our own fear of being alone. Imagine a wild, beautiful bird landing gently on your open hand. As long as your palm remains flat and open, the bird feels safe. It rests there by choice. You get to experience the absolute miracle of its presence. But the moment you become terrified that the bird will fly away, what happens? You close your fingers. You try to trap it. And in that moment of panic, you either crush the very thing you found so beautiful, or you force it to fight frantically to escape your grasp. We do this with human beings every single day. We meet someone who brings a spark of joy into our heavy lives, and instead of simply enjoying the warmth of their light, we immediately start building a cage. We panic when a message is delayed. We feel threatened when they change or grow. We wrap them in endless expectations, trying to guarantee our own safety. We forget that the most beautiful connections are the ones that are freely chosen every single day. Think about your own life. When you feel that familiar anxiety rising in your chest, ask yourself, am I acting out of love for them? Or am I acting out of the fear of being left behind? Is this thought bringing you peace, or is it feeding your fear? Stop. Breathe. Let that sink in. You do not need to trap someone to keep them. Love only stays where it feels free to leave. The next time you feel the urge to tighten your grip, pause. Let the feeling rise without acting on it. Observe the thought without following it. Do your part. Offer your warmth. Then, release the outcome. Stop trying to force the door locked, because holding on to someone with a closed fist will only ever leave you exhausted. True connection requires the incredible courage to keep your hands open. And keeping your hands open brings us to one of the most beautiful lessons nature has to offer. 4. The metaphor of the wildflower. What if the most beautiful things in your life are beautiful precisely because they do not last forever? Here is a truth that goes against everything modern culture tells us. We are conditioned to believe that value is tied entirely to endurance. We think that if something does not last until the very end of our lives, it was somehow a failure, a mistake, or a waste of time. When a deep relationship eventually ends, or when a beautiful season of our life quietly passes into history, we immediately label it a tragedy. We mourn the loss so deeply that we sometimes regret having experienced the joy at all. We build a narrative in our heads and tell ourselves, I should never have cared so much, I should have kept my distance. We view the ending as a complete betrayal of the beginning, but Buddhist wisdom teaches a radically different view of value. In Buddhist thought, impermanence is not a flaw in the design of the universe. It is the very feature that gives life its meaning. The teachings remind us that if things never changed, they would have no vitality. Non-attachment is widely misunderstood. It does not mean caring less. It does not mean becoming cold, distant, or indifferent. It means caring completely and fiercely, without demanding that the object of your care remain frozen in time for your own comfort. Imagine walking quietly through a deep, shaded forest and suddenly stumbling upon a rare, fragile wildflower. It is blooming perfectly, its petals a vibrant, brilliant color against the dark soil. You know that it is fragile. You know that in just a few short days, the wind will shift, the petals will wither, and it will fall away back into the earth. But what do you do in that moment? Do you refuse to look at its beauty because you know it will soon die? Do you pull it aggressively from the soil to take it home, knowing that uprooting it will only hasten its end? Or do you simply sit beside it, entirely present, and marvel at the miracle of its existence? In that exact moment, the flower's brief life does not diminish its beauty, it amplifies it. Yet, we often refuse to treat the people in our lives like the wildflower. We meet someone who perfectly aligns with our soul. We experience a season of profound friendship, or we find a partner who brings an unexpected light into our heavy routine. But instead of sitting beside them in awe of the present moment, we panic about the approaching winter. We obsess over where the relationship is going. We worry about how it might one day end, or we try to uproot the other person to fit into our controlled environment. We destroy the natural, effortless beauty of the connection simply because we cannot tolerate its temporary nature. Think about your own life. Are you rejecting the wildflowers on your path just because they will not bloom all year? What are you so desperately afraid will happen if you simply let yourself enjoy the warmth of a connection for exactly as long as it naturally lasts? Pause. Breathe. Stop trying to force the door open to a future that does not yet exist. The next time you find yourself deeply happy, but instantly terrified that the happiness will end. Simply notice the shift in your mind. Bring your attention back to the flower. Let the feeling of joy rise without making the fear of loss your identity. You do not have to mentally rehearse the loss of something you currently hold in your hands, because the purpose of the flower was never to bloom forever. Its purpose was to bloom right now. But learning to appreciate the flower without picking it means we have to face the sorrow when its petals finally, inevitably fall. And this is where we must learn how to truly navigate the pain of change. 5. Navigating the pain of change. What if the pain you feel when something ends is not a punishment, but the deepest proof that you lived fully? Here is a truth we instinctively run from. The end of a beautiful connection will always hurt. There is no spiritual shortcut around grief. When someone leaves, when a relationship fades, or when a season of your life naturally concludes, our first instinct is often to shut down entirely. We feel the heavy ache of absence and immediately tell ourselves it was a mistake to care so much. We look at the empty space they left behind, the sudden quiet in our daily routine, the messages that no longer come, and we weaponize that pain against ourselves. We vow to build higher walls. We let the sorrow of the ending rewrite the beauty of the entire experience. We decide that if it brought us pain in the end, it was a failure from the beginning. In Buddhist thought, pain is an inevitable part of the human experience, but suffering is a choice. Suffering happens when we actively refuse to accept the reality of the present moment. We suffer because we believe an ending means something has gone deeply wrong with the universe. But Buddhism reminds us that the changing of forms is the natural, unbroken order of life. The pain of separation is real, but the heavy, prolonged suffering multiplies only when we try to fight the shifting tide. We are taught to practice acceptance, not to forcefully erase the pain, but to allow it to move through us without resistance. Imagine a vast open sky. On most days, it is clear, bright, and endlessly blue, but sometimes dark, heavy clouds roll in. A fierce storm breaks out, bringing harsh winds and blinding rain. If the sky somehow tried to resist the storm or actively push the clouds away, it would be impossible. But the sky does not fight. It simply makes space for the weather to exist. It allows the rain to fall, holding the storm completely, knowing with absolute certainty that eventually the clouds will drift across the horizon and the clear blue will remain. Yet, when it comes to our own emotional storms, we refuse to be the sky. We treat our grief over a changing relationship like an emergency we must immediately fix. When the ache of a lost connection hits us, we panic. We suppress the feeling. We distract ourselves with endless tasks. We bury ourselves in work, or we desperately try to replace what was lost to fill the void. We try to outrun the rain. We think if we just keep moving or stay angry enough, the sadness will not be able to catch us. Think about your own life. How often do you fight your own sadness? When a connection changes, do you punish yourself for having been vulnerable? Ask yourself, what are you afraid will happen if you simply sit still and let your heart ache for a moment? Pause. Breathe. The next time the heavy wave of missing someone washes over you, do not run. Let the feeling rise without making it your permanent identity. Observe the sorrow without letting it dictate your future choices. Do not try to forcefully clear the sky. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm. Because peace is not the permanent absence of painful endings. Peace is the quiet, unbreakable trust that you are vast enough to hold the storm without being destroyed by it. But merely surviving the storm is only the beginning of healing. To truly live, we must eventually step back out into the open, and this is where the hardest choice must be made. 6. The courage to open your hands. What if the greatest act of bravery is not learning how to protect yourself, but learning how to remain soft in a world that constantly changes? Here is the truth. After we survive the pain of a loss, a deep disappointment, or the quiet fading of a beautiful connection, our first instinct is to retreat. We look at the quiet ache of what used to be, and we make a silent, desperate vow. We tell ourselves we will never be that vulnerable again. We start treating our hearts like a fragile object that must be hidden away in a locked room. We walk through the rest of our lives with clenched fists. We hold back our true feelings. We give only a safe, measured fraction of our affection, just to ensure no one can ever take it all away again. We think this armor makes us strong. We convince ourselves that being fiercely guarded is the ultimate victory over suffering. But Buddhist wisdom offers a gentle correction. Closing the heart is not a sign of strength. It is the ultimate manifestation of fear. True resilience in Buddhist thought is found in the practice of non-attachment, which does not mean closing yourself off. It means loving fully, entirely, and completely, without demanding that you possess the object of your love. The teachings remind us that a closed fist may protect what is inside it, but it is completely incapable of receiving anything new. It can hold nothing but its own endless tension. Imagine a heavy, solid wooden door with a thick iron lock. If you lock yourself inside a dark, quiet room, you will absolutely be safe. The harsh winds cannot strike you. The freezing rain cannot touch you. You are completely protected from the unpredictable elements outside. But the sunlight cannot reach you either. The fresh air cannot enter. You survive the storm, but you are only existing in the shadows. To feel the warmth of the morning sun, to feel the gentle breeze on your face, you have to turn the key. You have to swing the door wide open, knowing perfectly well that the weather will eventually change. We do this with human connection every single day. We meet someone who feels like sudden, brilliant sunlight. They bring an unexpected joy into our heavy routine. But because we remember the devastation of the last storm, we refuse to unlock the door. We stay inside our comfortable, predictable isolation. We keep our conversations entirely superficial. We hold back the depth of our care because we are terrified of the price we might pay if they eventually walk away. We survive the loneliness, but we starve ourselves of genuine, nourishing connection. We wait for an impossible guarantee that the sky will never darken before we allow ourselves to step outside. Think about your own life. How many beautiful moments have you missed because you were too busy guarding the door? Are you truly living your life? Or are you simply managing your fear of getting hurt? Ask yourself, what is it costing you to keep your hands so tightly closed? Pause, breathe. The next time you feel yourself putting up a wall out of habit, stop. Look at your own hands. Imagine slowly uncurling your fingers, one by one. You do not have to throw away your wisdom, but you can choose to let the air in. Do your part, then release the outcome. Stop living in defense of a future that has not arrived, because true strength is not avoiding the rain. True strength is trusting that even if the rain falls, you will not wash away. You are deep enough to withstand the changing weather. But to truly live with an open hand, we must learn to occupy the only space where love actually exists. And that brings us to a profound realization about where our minds spend most of their time. 7. Presence as the highest form of love. What if the reason you feel so anxious about losing someone is not because they are pulling away, but because you are never truly standing beside them? Here is a strange and difficult truth. We spend almost our entire lives time traveling. When we finally find someone who makes us feel safe, or we experience a moment of profound joy, we rarely just sit in that safety. We instantly project our minds into the future. We sit across from someone, listening to them speak, but our internal voice is louder. We analyze the tone of their words. We stress over where the relationship is heading, or we drag the past into the room, comparing this fragile, new connection to the ghosts of people who hurt us years ago. We are physically in the room, but emotionally, we are 1,000 miles away, desperately trying to manage the timeline. Buddhist wisdom reminds us of a very simple, yet easily forgotten reality. The past is a memory. The future is an illusion. The only place life actually happens is right now, in this exact breath. Therefore, the highest form of love we can ever offer another human being is not a desperate promise of forever. It is our pure, undivided presence. To truly love someone, in Buddhist thought, is to look at them, truly see them, and offer them the entirety of your attention. Love cannot exist in the setter, anxiety of tomorrow, and it cannot breathe in the regrets of yesterday. It only lives in the space of this immediate moment. Imagine lighting a single, beautiful candle in a dark, quiet room. The flame dances gently. It casts a warm, golden glow across the walls, entirely changing the feeling of the space. But instead of sitting and enjoying the soft light, you stare intensely at the melting wax. You become utterly consumed by the thought that the wick is slowly burning down. You spend the entire evening obsessing over the approaching darkness, mourning the loss of the light, while the room is still perfectly illuminated. By the time the candle finally flickers out, you realize you never actually enjoyed the warmth. You spent the entire duration of the light worrying about the dark. We do this exact same thing with our hearts. We meet someone wonderful, and instead of soaking in the glow of their company, we watch the wax melt. We ruin perfect, quiet afternoons. By asking anxious questions about the future, we let our minds drift away during moments of deep intimacy, silently wondering if they are going to leave us. We miss the miracle of the current connection because we are terrified of its expiration date. Think about your own life. When was the last time you looked at someone you care about without needing anything from them, and without silently worrying about tomorrow? Are you actually experiencing the love in your life, or are you just mentally rehearsing losing it? Pause. Breathe. Bring your mind back to the room. The next time you are sitting with someone you love, gently pull your focus away from the future. Listen to the sound of their voice. Notice the way the light hits their face. Let the moment be exactly what it is, without asking it to be anything more. Observe the beauty of the present without demanding that it last forever, because a lifetime of distracted anxiety is worth far less than one single hour of absolute, unwavering presence. You do not need to control tomorrow to fully experience the warmth of today. And this realization brings us to the final step of our journey. Because the ultimate goal is not just to tolerate the passing of time, but to learn how to walk freely and love completely in a world where nothing is guaranteed. 8. Loving freely in a transient world. We began this journey by looking at the heavy walls we build around our hearts, the quiet, heartbreaking way we hold back our deepest affection because we are terrified of the pain that comes when things inevitably change. We convinced ourselves that by keeping our distance, by squeezing our eyes shut to the beauty of the sunrise, we were keeping ourselves safe from the dark. But what if the very thing you thought would destroy you, the passing of time, the fading of seasons, the shifting of human connection, is actually the very thing that makes this life so incredibly beautiful? We have seen the truth of our own suffering. The armor does not protect us from grief. It only starves us of the joy we so desperately crave. The pain of losing something profound is not a punishment for having loved too much. It is simply the natural rhythm of a universe where absolutely everything is in motion. The river flows toward the ocean. The heavy storm eventually breaks. The fragile wildflower blooms brilliantly, and then returns to the earth. And through it all, you remain. You do not have to be afraid to care anymore. You do not have to demand impossible guarantees from a world that was designed to change. The highest expression of love is not forcing someone to stay frozen in time. It is standing beside them, with an open hand and a quiet mind, honoring the miracle of their presence for however long the season lasts. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that non-attachment is not coldness. It is not indifference. It is the profound, unbreakable courage to look at another human being and say, "I know this may not last forever, but I am going to love you entirely while it is here." The anxiety you feel in your chest is not a sign that love is dangerous. It is only a sign that you have forgotten your own vastness. You have survived every single ending you have ever faced. You have walked through the freezing rain before, and you did not wash away. You are fully capable of holding the grief of an ending, which means you are entirely free to experience the absolute, soaring depths of the beginning. You do not have to hide anymore. You can turn the key. You can step out into the brilliant sunlight. Let the people in your life be who they are. Let the chapters begin and end naturally. Stop carrying the crushing weight of forever on your shoulders. When you finally stop trying to control the timeline, you will discover a strange, unshakable peace. You will realize that the joy of a deep connection was never about possessing it. It was simply about experiencing it. Ask yourself one final time, are you ready to stop waiting for permanence and start living in the present? You do not need to be fearless to love deeply. You only need to be present. Do your part. Offer your warmth, and let the universe handle the rest. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can open your hands now.